Today on Larry King Now, the Expendables 3, Randy Couture. Tell me, who is Toll Road?
College-educated guy that's, this is his family. These guys are his family, as dysfunctional and quirky as they are. These are the guys he lives and breathes for and will die for.
Now, you and Chuck Liddell were the coaches the first season of The Ultimate Fighter, right? Mm-hmm. Did that show change the way the public looked at MMA?
Absolutely. Everybody thought we were crazy, that we were criminals because we got in a cage and fought. And obviously, most of the guys in mixed martial arts that I know are college-educated guys that have just been competing in an individual combative sport their whole life, and this was their outlet.
Did you know that you had the impact on the sport you had?
You never really look at yourself that way. At least I don't. I was just doing what I love to do.
Plus,
God gave me armor. They're thick, and they're hard, and they do protect my head.
Does it affect your hearing?
My deafness is selective, Larry.
All next on Larry King Now. Welcome to Larry King Now. Our special guest is Randy Couture, the actor, businessman, and one of MMA's original superstars, a 6-time world champion and UFC Hall of Famer. On August 10th, you can see him and Frank Shamrock hosting Spike TV's Gym Rescue, where he also serves, by the way, as executive producer, and he's reprising his role as Toll Road alongside Sylvester Stallone, Jason Statham, and Arnold Schwarzenegger in The Expendables 3, opening August 15th. How do you explain the success of this now franchise?
I think obviously the ensemble cast has become something that you're seeing a lot more, and Sly was, I think, one of the first guys to do it with Expendables 1. Amazing group of guys, and kind of that, oh my God, can you imagine if all these guys were in the same movie? It was kind of that moment.
It was Sly's thing, right?
I think so, yeah.
He's very creative.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Do you like acting?
I enjoy it.
Why?
I got the opportunity 12 years ago to be on set for the first time, Cradle to the Grave. They were looking for fighters to create an authentic fight scene in a movie, and I had one line in the movie, but it was the first time kind of seeing behind the curtain how it's done, the process, and immediately became intrigued with it. I've been going to movies since I was a little kid. My mom used to take me to the Lynn Twin Theater for the double feature on Saturdays. And
where'd you grow up?
Linwood, Washington. Yeah.
Up north?
Oh, Seattle, yeah. So I just always loved movies, but never really understood the process. And I think once you kind of see behind the curtain and how they're made, it changes you. It changes how you see them.
Did you always have that sense beyond fighting of other things, business, acting?
I think as a fighter, you're pretty egocentric. You're focused on what you're doing. Everything revolves around your performance and preparing and going out there in front of 20,000 plus people and putting it on the line. So I never really, it took me a while to kind of realize that I had a brand, that there were a lot of other opportunities, and to recognize that I had a short window of opportunity to fight and make the kind of money that I was making.
When Sly was on the Letterman show promoting the film, he said you were the toughest guy in the cast. Did that surprise you, or do you figure you would be since of your career?
Well, I think, outside of Dolph, who's done some contact sparring, I was really the only combative sports athlete involved in the cast at that time. So if you want to get down to the nuts and bolts of we're going to fight, I probably had a pretty good shot.
What about working with Sly?
An intensity. And especially in the first film, because he was wearing so many hats. I mean, he wrote, he was directing, he was in front of the camera, doing all the rewrites. I think we had 3 units going at some times during that production, so amazingly intense. I don't know how he survived it. And now in the third one, we've a much more relaxed Sly. I think he let Patrick Hughes, the new director, really kind of take it over and do what he needed to do, and had a lot of confidence in Patrick. And so got to spend more kind of casual time with Sly for the third one.
I know him a long time. He has that funny voice, but he is so much brighter than people think. I mean, he's so creative. He's a terrific writer. Rocky, unbelievable.
Absolutely. The one-liners that he comes up with on set are just
funny.
Yeah, hilarious.
Now, is it right? Were you originally read for the Hail Caesar? Tell me about that. You didn't read for your part?
I originally talked to Sly and was being considered for Hail Caesar. They were having trouble filling the role. It was originally, I think, written for Wesley. and Wesley was having his issues at that time.
Yeah.
And so we talked about changing it, kind of working it around to fit me more, and then they ended up getting Terry Crews, who I thought was perfect, and kind of toll road
you were
specifically.
out then?
I didn't really know how all. I just noted that the name changed, and then this character that we had discussed, kind of what Hail Caesar would became Toll Road, and I was excited.
So tell me, who is Toll Road?
College-educated guy that's, this is his family. These guys are his family, as dysfunctional and quirky as they are. These are the guys he lives and breathes for and will die for.
And he's got that name because?
If you're going to get past him, you're going to pay a price.
All right, how does Expendables 3 differ from the other two? Tell me, who are we after?
Well, obviously, there's kind of this dichotomy of the young versus the old. The tech-savvy, kind of new, younger generation that will program your VCR or whatever it is you need them to do, play with the smartphone, versus kind of the old school way of doing things. And I'm kind of more in that old school. The original Expendables were kind of that old school mindset. And
who's the villain now
is Mel Gibson. And obviously a blast to work with and be part of a film that he's involved in too.
Now, you fight in the film, right? You know how
fighting.
to fight. Did the director tell you how to fight? You have to do sequence. You're not hitting him.
Right, which is one of the things I had to learn early on, that it's a lot different when you're really trying to punch somebody versus, where the line of the camera is and all those things to make it look good without actually hurting anybody.
You ever hurt anyone?
Unfortunately, yeah, that happens.
Yeah?
Their stunt guys are amazing, but they definitely take the bumps. They take the knocks. And it's not that I get carried away, but finding that fine line between, really making contact with somebody or picking somebody up and really slamming them and just making it look good is always a challenge.
My wife just shot a movie in Bulgaria, and she loved Sofia.
Great place.
What's it like to shoot that far from home, to be that far away?
I think being in a hotel that long is a challenge. Fortunately, the hotel they put us up in was great, had an amazing gym, spent a ton of time in the gym. And it's an interesting locale for travel. Any days off I had, I went to Greece, I went into the mountains to Bansko, and great part of the world.
We'll talk about being the natural, the UFC, and more with Randy Couture right after this. He's one of the stars in the Expendables 3. It opens August 15th. He's Randy Couture. You're considered one of the original superstars of MMA. Did you know that you had the impact on the sport you had?
You never really look at yourself that way. At least I don't. I was just doing what I loved to do. I had a passion for wrestling, started at the age of 10 and wrestled all through school and college. And mixed martial arts kind of became an extension of wrestling.
When did that catch on?
It started in this country in 1993.
Yeah, late.
It had been going on in Brazil and Japan for quite some time, and they kind of, the Gracies in particular, kind of put together a package that not only were going to promote that age-old question, well, who would win? The boxer or the karate guy? Kind of the thing that Bruce Lee started a long time ago. They came up with a format that would answer a lot of those questions. And
what is the answer?
Yeah. Well, it became apparent that there was no one style that was better than the other. You had to kind of amalgamate and learn a whole bunch of different styles and techniques and tactics to become a well-rounded, complete fighter, and that's what mixed martial arts is.
Did you want to be a fighter, a boxer?
As a kid, I loved boxing.
That was when
and that was the one thing my mom said, no, you're not going to box. Now she laughs. She's like, I should have just let you box then. You would have got it out of your system. But yeah, I loved boxing. I thought it was a great sport.
How'd you get the name The Natural?
I fought Vitor Belfort in one of my first big fights, and the only kind of magazine that was covering us at the time was Full Contact Fighter. And Joe Gold said, oh man, you adapted to Vitor's style. He's been beating everybody, and you kind of beat him at his own game. You're a natural. Can I call you that? And I'm like, well, I've been called a lot worse things. I suppose that's fine. And the handle just stuck.
What was the worst you ever hurt?
I fractured an eye, caught an elbow, and fractured this bone, which
from a blow?
Yeah, an elbow strike.
Who hit you?
It It was for a heavyweight title. A guy named Rico Rodriguez caught me with in a fight with an elbow. And
You call it kinetic chess.
yes.
What do you mean?
It's an action-reaction sport. You don't have time to think. You really have to rely on your training and what you've prepared for. And each and every guy you face poses a certain amount of problems, physical problems. And so in a kinetic sense, you're playing chess.
There's a lot of mind games in it?
There is a psychological aspect to I think, any athletic endeavor, but certainly in an individual combative sport, psychology is a huge thing.
Now, you and Chuck Liddell were the coaches the first season of The Ultimate Fighter, right? Mm-hmm. Did that show change the way the public looked at MMA?
Absolutely.
Because?
I think it gave, the reality genre was a perfect vehicle to break down people's misconceptions about who we are and what we did. Everybody thought we were crazy, that we were criminals because we got in a cage and fought. And obviously most of the guys in mixed martial arts that I know are college-educated guys that have just been competing in an individual combative sport their whole life, and this was their outlet. And so I think getting a view behind the scenes to see how we train, the type of people that we are, the character that we possess, the discipline, the tactics, the technique, all those things, that all came to light through the Ultimate Fighter, that process.
Other sports worry about concussions. Do they worry about it in the MMA?
I mean, you're certainly guys getting knocked out, so there is some trauma to the brain, but I don't think it's a huge issue. I don't think we're going to see a bunch of punch-drunk mixed martial artists walking around. The career span's pretty short. I probably pushed that farther than anybody at 14 years.
30 fights, right?
But with the grappling and the wrestling nature of the sport, you just don't see a lot of head trauma.
What was your toughest fight of the 30?
Man, the first time I fought Pedro Hizzo in Atlantic City at Trump Taj Mahal, in a 5-round battle back and forth. A lot of people thought I lost the fight, but I won a unanimous decision, and I was confident I'd won 3 of the 5 rounds. But
it took off in Vegas too, didn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think when the Fertittas bought it in 2000, they had the savvy to kind of get it approved with the Nevada State Athletic Commission, which is the biggest athletic commission in the country, and that in some ways changed the sport as well.
Now, you retired in 2011 at age 47. Officially retired. You had a comeback, though. You retired and came back.
I retired at 43 for about 13 months.
Why'd you come back?
Came back because I felt like I had more to do.
And you won again, right?
I won the heavyweight title again. And
was there a big difference fighting at 47 than at 33?
Thankfully, I think I was smarter at 47. I refined my training.
But your reflexes couldn't have been as sharp.
I think I was certainly a better fighter at 45, 46, 47 than I was at 33 and 34.
What do you think of some of the current champions? What do you think of John Jones? I just saw him a couple weeks ago.
Amazing athlete.
Nice guy,
and
too.
kind of this new prototype at 205 at his height and the range and reach that he has. He's got the wrestling ability. He's put together the striking ability.
Do you think how you'd have done against him?
I would have been interesting.
Cain Velasquez.
Another guy that again has become this, in the heavyweight division, where the tendency was to be these really, really big guys. I mean, he's 250. He's not that big, but he's got a great gas tank. And
Chris Weidman.
Weidman's kind of the new kid on the block, and I think now continuing to prove that he deserves to be there.
Now, you co-star in the Expendables 3 with Ronda Rousey. I know Ronda.
Ronda's,
what was it like working with her on the set?
The queen of MMA right now.
Yeah.
And,
how good is she?
She's very, very good. Implements her judo background as well as anybody I've seen, and is very intense, and I think very strong. A lot of girls are going to have trouble dealing with the strength that she possesses.
Did she like doing a movie?
I think she liked it. She showed up prepared. She was ready to go. She was fun to work with. Yeah, she was great.
Where does MMA go from here, do you think?
I think it continues to solidify itself as the combative sport for this generation. I think it's expanded globally. There's fights and promotions all around the world now, and
a lot of countries into it.
Yeah, really, really kind of a foundation for grassroots mixed martial arts is growing. A ton of amateur fighters.
The business side of Randy Couture after this. We're back with Randy Couture, one of the many stars of Expendables 3. The third version of Expendables opens August 15th. You become quite a businessman. Let me get this right. You have a chain of gyms, Extreme Couture MMA, a clothing line, a supplement company, a foundation honoring vets, and a company focused on training professional athletes using MMA techniques. What took you into business?
I think two things. I think the light bulb went off for me walking down the studio walk at MGM the very first time I fought there. And I'm walking down to the arena. We have to show up pretty early, and I walk past the store. It was a Juicy Couture store.
Really?
And I see my last name on the sign, and it's like, holy cow.
That's your
crazy.
name?
That's my name. And,
Separate to you, right?
Yeah, the light bulb went off, and I think the ideas for the clothing line and all that stuff grew out of that. Some of it was a niche. We needed training centers. I think as mixed martial artists, we were going to the boxing gym, going to the wrestling mats at the college, going to the fitness center to get our strength and conditioning. There was no training center that encompassed all of that for MMA, and I think Lion's Den, Team Quest, Extreme Couture, a lot of those gyms grew out of that need for a place under one roof that had all that.
And you named yours?
Extreme Couture.
What is couture, French?
It is French, yeah.
And then that led to, you have a clothing line and a supplemental company? What's that, vitamins?
Supplement line, I think most of the supplements that I'd seen throughout my athletic career were geared towards physique competitions in bodybuilding, and that didn't really help me perform, didn't help me recover from the workouts I was doing. I was more interested in staving off aging and recovering from the intense workouts that I was putting my body through. And so I designed a line that was more athletic based, and that's what the XCAP program is.
Because someone is a great athlete doesn't mean they can be a great coach. In fact, sometimes it's hard to be a great coach because they know too much.
Absolutely.
How good are you? You train people.
I enjoyed coaching, and I think I was a coach before I was a fighter, certainly. I coached at Oregon State University, and I was forced to do demonstrations in the Army representing wrestling. I was forced to do summer camps to make ends meet in college, and it put me in that coaching position where I had to explain to another athlete how I did what I did, and I had to break it down by the numbers to do that. And I think that was kind of the training ground for me in becoming a coach. But
now on TV, you left Fox to go to Spike, right?
That's correct.
What's the deal with Spike? What's coming there?
It was a 2-year deal with Spike to do scripted and unscripted television. Obviously, the first installment of unscripted stuff we did was with Fight Master, kind of a show along the lines of The Ultimate Fighter. We now have a show coming out called Gym Rescue, like their Bar Rescue property, which is their #1 show on Spike.
Gym Rescue. What happens on
Frank
that?
Shamrock and I go into failing gyms, basically, and try and help them turn around.
Wow.
It's fun.
You're doing so many things. How do you keep up with yourself?
And I sometimes feel like I can't find my butt with both hands.
Is your son into MMA too?
My oldest is competing, trains with me at Extreme Couture in Las Vegas, and Ryan's fighting. Has been fighting for 5 years now.
Is Vegas home?
Vegas is home now, yeah.
How big is the family?
I have 3 children, and I like Vegas a lot, surprisingly.
A little warm in the summer, though.
Yeah, this time of year.
UFC President Dana White, who was a guest on this show, wasn't too pleased when you left UFC. Why'd you leave?
Well, I mean, Spike offered me a fantastic deal to do more television and be involved, and I wasn't really getting those offers from the UFC. I was doing some commentating for Fox, but it was a fairly small deal. And,
Do you have any personal feelings regarding Dana?
You know, my son was trying to compete in the UFC, and I don't feel like he got a fair shake from Dana, and I think that was directed at me. That's the only issue that I really have. You know, he is what he is. He does the best that he can, I think, and he's running a monster.
So many things go on with you. Any other upcoming projects?
That's it right now. Focused on Expendables 3 and Gym Rescue.
Expendables 4?
I think so.
Why not?
I don't see how there couldn't be.
Back to Bulgaria.
Absolutely.
You write poetry?
I've been writing since I was in college.
What kind? Prose?
Yeah, prose. Recently started doing a little more haiku stuff, but
Like what?
just whatever occurs to me. You see a lot of things. I get to travel a ton. We were just in Cannes for the film festival and went to a 16th century, village there that was amazing. And some of the things you see inspire you to put some words to it.
Being published yet?
Never been published.
You ever submitted for publishing?
I mean, I have a couple of books, but nothing to do with the poetry.
Books about wrestling, about fighting?
Fighting,
boxing?
wrestling, and autobiography.
I've interviewed many poets, and they tell me the difference in poetry and novels and any other kind of writing is there's no such thing as a wasted word. Is that true?
I think
and
that's true.
Every little word means something.
And trying to figure out how they fit together, and yeah, change one word here or there, it can create a whole different meaning.
You're a Renaissance man. We'll find out about Randy's first kiss, hey, right after this. Expendables 3 opens August 15th. Our guest is Randy Couture. We have some social media questions. Joanna 1605M, is there going to be an Expendables 4? I asked you that, but do you think there will be?
I think there will be. There's already talk about it, even though we haven't seen what 3 is going to do yet. It's a great cast of guys, and I think it's going to be successful. Everyone gets along well.
At Tarek NY, when you're preparing for a fight scene, do you focus on MMA techniques from the UFC days?
I definitely try to infuse that into some of the things we do. Obviously, you work with a stunt coordinator to come up with the scenes and how they fit and how the choreography fits together with the stunt guys you're using. But you know, they know my background and they want to see that stuff too. It's popular, so.
At GM Jennison, if you could only choose one, would you want a lightsaber or a hoverboard?
I would probably have to go with the lightsaber.
At Marcor 1988, do you really use your cauliflower ears as weapons in the cage when clinched?
God gave me armor. These are
You were born with that?
thick. No, it came from wrestling. They're thick, they're hard, and they do protect my head.
Does it affect your hearing?
My deafness is selective, Larry.
You've used that before. Rob Connor on Facebook. Who would win a real fight, you or Jet Li?
You know, my first movie experience was with Jet, and Jet would be the first one to tell you that he's not a fighter. He's a martial artist and an acrobat. He's an amazing, amazing martial artist. But I don't think he's a fighter. I don't think he has the fighter's mentality. And he's considerably smaller than me. We would not be in the same weight class.
As a kid, when you would watch boxing, I guess Ali or others, were you used to?
Yeah.
Is there anyone you would have wanted to fight? Ali would have been good in MMA, wouldn't he?
I think he would have been, yeah. I think he would have
Speed
been
and
very,
height.
very interesting. Yeah, absolutely.
Great athlete. Oh, we played a little game of If You Only Knew, okay? Who was the first girl you ever kissed?
Sherry Dormer.
Where was this?
This was in Linwood, Washington, my neighbor.
How old were you?
I was in the 3rd grade.
Wow. Where did it happen?
It happened in my yard.
Whatever happened to her?
That's a good question. I have no idea. They moved away and I lost contact.
Craziest stunt you've done yourself?
Man, I think probably the fight scenes in the tunnel in the first Expendables. We did a lot of crazy stuff in the tunnel fight scenes.
Favorite music to work out to?
AC/DC.
Favorite action star from your youth?
Oh man, I was a big fan of Sylvester Stallone in Rambo. I was filmed in Hope, Washington, and I grew up in Washington.
Current fighter you'd like to fight?
Current fighter I'd like to fight. Oh my gosh. Steven Seagal doesn't count, does he?
Yeah, go ahead. Where is Steven Seagal? Favorite action sequence from a film of yours?
I love the fight sequence in the 3rd installment of The Bourne Identity, when he takes the book off the bookshelf.
Oh yeah,
that was an amazing fight scene.
What other actor has impressed you with their fighting skill?
I've been very impressed with, obviously, a lot of the stuff that Jason Statham does and Dolph Lundgren. I've gotten a chance to spar with him and got to know him really well.
He boxed, didn't he?
Yeah, he did karate. And
yeah. Biggest prankster on the Expendables set?
Biggest prankster, I think, is probably Sly himself, with the one-liners and the things that he comes up with on set.
Quietest actor from the movie?
Quietest actor, well, it wasn't Antonio Banderas. He was singing on set.
Really?
Yeah, he was
I
great.
like him.
Yeah, I liked him
Who's
too.
the funniest?
Funniest, Antonio was incredibly funny.
Who's the most intimidating? Mel Gibson?
Maybe Mel.
Biggest klutz?
Biggest klutz?
Is there a klutz?
I didn't see a klutz, really.
Guy you're closest to from the film?
I think Terry Crews.
Favorite film hero of all time?
Film hero.
Could be Rambo, I guess.
Yeah,
Or
I
was.
mean, yeah, John Rambo.
Favorite villain of all time?
Villain. I can't think of a villain.
Oh, I would think of, let's see, who was my favorite villain? The incredible killer who ate people.
Oh, Hannibal Lecter.
Hannibal Lecter.
Yes, that's a great villain.
Can't top him. Superman or Batman?
Batman.
Superpower you'd like to have?
I said Batman, but flying would be pretty cool.
Flying would be the superpower.
Yeah.
Right? If you could travel back in time, what era would you like to live in?
I think the Old West.
I figured that.
Yeah.
Thank you, man.
You bet.
Randy Couture. Make sure you see him as Toll Road in the Expendables 3 in theaters August 15th and also on Spike TV's Gym Rescue August 10th. And remember, you can find me on Twitter at King's Things, and I'll see you next time.